Welcome everyone to the Bold Authors Network. I'm Kay Wagner, and today is Monday, the 10th of February. And I will probably say this all year long, but I can't believe it's the 10th of February already. Like, what happened to January? What's happening here in February? But welcome anyway. I'm going to share my screen with you. We're going to go through a few things, and then we're going to do some breakout rooms. So just give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Okay, great, good. So this is the promo hour for Bold Authors Network, in which we share ideas, frustrations, wins, all about book promotions. And the goal here is to have everyone become a bold promoter. Bold promoters go where no man has gone before, where no woman has gone before, because we are bold and we see opportunities for selling our books wherever we go. So for those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Kay Wagner. I'm a nonfiction and fiction author, award-winning, best-selling, president of North Star Marketing, a full-service agency marketing firm that I founded and ran for many years, and founder of the Bold Authors Network. And just a little bit of social proof or proof on my experience. This is a sales ranking chart that I pulled from KDP. Last one I pulled was 2 weeks ago. And just to show you in terms of ranking, so this is sales rank 1. And when I published the first book in the Frankie Girls series, Saturday Night at the Trailer Park, the sales were up and down until I started getting my act together with promoting. And then you see the effect that bold promoting has on sales. Instead of just being, what I always say to other people is, what's better than being a best-selling author is being a perennial selling author, one that sells books every day. And this is the series, the Frankie Girls series, my fiction series, which I wrote after nonfiction. And these were all released, all 4 were released in 2024. Now, I did some bookish news for you last week, and I wanted to catch you up on what's happened since then. So we talked about Rebecca Yarros and her Onyx Storm, which was the fastest selling adult novel in 2 decades, 2.7 million copies in the first week. And then this came into my news feed this week. She's on a billboard. Her book is on a billboard in Times Square. And here she is pointing up to the billboard. Now, this happens when you have a traditional publisher, this kind of publicity. But I can also tell you as an indie author that my book was in rotation on the Jumbotron in Times Square, my first book of fiction, Saturday Night at the Trailer Park, last April. And that was partially due to an award that I had won, and the award company had figured out how to get the award-winning books in rotation. And when we talk about awards down the road, whether they're worth applying for and what they mean and how to use them, I'll share more of that story with you. Bookish news number 2. Speaking of the Super Bowl last night, did you notice this shot? This is the book, Inner Excellence. I showed you this shot last week of A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is a wide receiver for the Eagles, and he takes this book, Inner Excellence, with him all season to the games, and he's often caught on camera reading the book. And he had it last night at the Super Bowl game as well. And so somebody else is coming over here looking at it. So I crossed out he's scoring and I put in he's reading. Now, the interesting thing about Inner Excellence is that Jim Murphy, who is the writer of that book, has just published his second book called The Best Possible Life. It too is now in bestseller status. And highlighted in Kindle in Inner Excellence is this quote, which I feel really encapsulates what Jim Murphy was trying to say. The biggest obstacle we face in performance and in life is self-centeredness. And if you ever hear A.J. Brown talking about this book, he will talk about that changing his perspective on teamwork, not being selfish about all the grabs of all the glory, but sharing that. And so this book and Jim Murphy is an excellent example of how your book as an asset can go way beyond the book and become much, much bigger than that. Jim Murphy travels around the world giving author talks, giving workshops, participating in conferences. And just recently, he was asked by Penn State's, I think it was their wrestling team, is building a leadership center in Lancaster County. And they've asked Jim Murphy to be part of that leadership team and part of that leadership center. And that will be a center for people around the globe to come for Inner Excellence. So I'm very excited that he's going to be in Lancaster County. I can't believe it, in Lidditz. But it's just another example, just a furthering of what Jim Murphy is able to do when he has a book that somehow caught fire. We know it caught fire because of A.J. Brown. And could he have ever predicted that? No, but he was smart because his first edition was published by McGraw-Hill, and the second one he self-published, which means as an author, he got more of the revenue that came in from Inner Excellence, and I applaud him for that. If you've been here in Bold Authors Network and in Promo Hour, you are familiar with this chart. Kelly and Connor's emotional cycle of change. It's what happens when we start a new book, when we start a new initiative, a new project. We have uninformed optimism, and then reality sets in. We don't get the clicks we wanted, we don't get the sales we wanted, we don't get the readers we wanted, and we start to have informed pessimism, aka, oh my God, what's going on now? And then it continues for a little while. Our expectations get dashed and dented, and we go into the valley of despair. From there, if we hang in there and if we stay with it. Now, Jim Murphy in Inner Excellence, the book we just talked about, he spent 5 years researching his premise about being self-centered. He spent 5 years writing and researching. He says he was $90,000 worth in debt. And he said, I didn't even know if anybody except my mother was going to read this book. So you want to talk about a long and deep valley of despair, but he hung in there, stuck with it, believed in it, and came into informed optimism. And now we would say that he is successful and fulfilled. Sometimes this emotional cycle of change feels like it can happen in one day, in 1 hour, that we go through this emotional roller coaster. But the message here is really to hang tight and hang in there, keep believing in yourself. And then we have the formula for book mastery, book promotion mastery, which is practice, 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 delivery plus debrief equals mastery. And that really speaks about repetition and frequency, doing this over and over and over and over again, and then doing it some more. Sitting down at the writer's desk and writing and writing and writing and doing it some more. Getting on a podcast and getting on another one and then another one and then another one. Doing this over and over and over until you become a master at it. And you can show up at the drop of a hat and you have mastery to perform. Since we have new people here and I want to create a community here, I'm going to put you in breakout rooms. And in these breakout rooms, I'm going to ask that, first of all, you get to know each other a little bit, but then talk about, discuss, and give your feedback about the formula mastery. Practice, 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 plus delivery, plus debrief equals mastery. And see if you can think of a time or a situation or a skill in writing in the author world or in another world, in a different career perhaps, where you were able to achieve mastery and what that felt like and looked like and how you could apply that to book promotions. So I'm going to put you in breakout rooms. And let's see, we need about 3 of them, or 4, I think. And we'll give you 5 to 6 minutes on this so that everybody gets a chance to participate. Okay, here we go. I'll see you soon. Welcome back, everybody. Any blinding insights that anyone would like to share with what happened, what you discussed, what you talked about in your phone? In your phone,
Yeah.
in your meeting?
Oh,
Yes. Anyone want to share?
oh, go ahead,
Okay.
Jeff.
Yes. Jack, you're still muted.
Sorry about that. I was just talking before. No, it's something that I know that I have to do, is to get out there more, which is one of the things that drew me to this to your website here. Of just getting out and meeting people and making aware. Now, I was just talking to Elizabeth, and she's been on multiple podcasts, something that I've been trying to do. I haven't been that successful yet. And then just going and doing what you were doing and going to bookstores and that sort of thing. I know it's something that I have to do, and I haven't really done it. I've been doing other things to try to market the book that aren't really working that well. I was just saying, I'm almost at that despair part, and I published 2 books. In the beginning, they were great, and then it went down, and I'm not trying to step back and figure out how to continue marketing, to increase it. So it was encouraging to listen to Elizabeth and, kind of going from there, knowing it can be done, and listening to you too. So I'm glad that, well, this is my first time here that, that I signed
Welcome.
up for it. Yes, thank you.
Welcome. Great. And Elizabeth, you were going to add to that, I think.
Well, and I was going to say that I just shared with my group, I've been really thinking about your equation about practice, practice, practice. And when my book, Sacred Celebrations, came out about 1.5 years ago, I was told, just do podcasts, do podcasts. So I've probably done at least 1 or 2 podcasts a month. And sometimes they might only have, a couple hundred viewer or listeners. But I just literally hung up. That's why I was late to this call, with a podcast with a guy who invited me. I didn't really know anything about him. He's on Mixcloud. And I said, well, tell me about your listeners. He said, well, they have a platform of about 24 million people, and I'm their #1 podcast. And I was like, what?
Yes, congratulations.
I was like, what? And I had interviewed him for my next book. And then he was like, oh, you'd be a good, so, and then he and I got talking, and he was like, you need to do a podcast about your next topic, which is adoption reunion. And I was like, well, will you help me? He's like, yeah, we'll set up another time to talk. So, so it's like practice, practice, practice. And then you never know. So who knows, but it's exciting.
That is a fabulous story. Congratulations. That's so cool.
Thanks.
What I have found too is, even in the writing process, the more people that you ask for help, the more people will rally around your writing. Like, even if it's a research question, like in book 1, there's a sheriff, and in my fiction in book one, there's a sheriff. And so anytime I was close to anyone who was relatively close to the law force or anything, I would ask questions. And people would say, okay, tell me when your book's going to come out. Let me know when it comes out. I want to make sure I get a copy. And so one person said, well, will you put me in the book? And so I learned that people love being in the book, in acknowledgments or being written in as a character. And so I've written in some people, I've written in locations, I've written in restaurants. And so the more people are kind of even involved in the slightest bit in your book in any way, it really gets them engaged. But Jack, I think that what you're going through, falling off what we call the Amazon cliff, and now,
Yeah.
nothing's kind of happening. It's a very hard place to be. It is the valley of despair. And that's specifically why I created this group. And I'm going to make an offer you can't refuse, Jack, later in the program. So
Okay.
it will help you get out of the valley of despair. It's specifically meant for the valley of despair because I have been there. I have been there. I think we've probably all been there at one point or another, either in the writing or in the promoting or both. But we are here because there are many, many opportunities that once you begin to make a mind shift change from, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, I don't want to do it, to seeing the opportunities and then creating the opportunities. It changes how you look at the world. It changes what happens with your book. It changes everything, actually. How many of you are familiar with BookFunnel? BookFunnel's the platform where you can have your book delivered. So I had a moment of serendipity about a month ago. Jack Shakadis does a lot of he's their main marketing person. And they started a podcast about a month, 2 months, maybe 3 months ago. And when I first saw it come out, I was like, oh, put that one on my wish list. I would love to be on BookFunnel's podcast. So I signed up for a webinar that Jack was leading. And when I got to the webinar, it was just Jack and me. And so we were like, where is everybody? Well, I guess you can have your hour back and I'll take my hour back and we'll get work done. And then we got started talking and talking. And by the end of an hour and 10 minutes, he had asked me to be on his podcast, which I recorded and it was released last week. It's like an hour and 45 minutes long. It's a very, very long podcast. But we talked at length about this valley of despair, and particularly for people who are introverted. Do we have any introverts here? Yeah, just a few. Yeah, I'm an introvert too. But I have learned to love extroverting behavior. So I just choose my extroverting behavior, and then I walk in that little bookstore and say, hi, as the manager here, I brought you some books. And they look at me and they say, you brought us some books? I'm like, yes, I did. And then we have a conversation, and then I get invited to a book fest and an author's talk. And that just delights me. I have come to understand that being on podcasts is good for your mental health. Having conversations is good for your mental health, whether you are the guest or the podcaster. It's good to be able just to have a one-on-one conversation, get real about things, and just enjoy all things bookish. So, Jack, you just keep on keeping on. We're all going to keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
We're going to make things happen. All right, I want to talk, because we have some new people today, I want to talk about the 3 V's. And just let me know if you can see the screen with a thumbs up. thank you. So when we talk about this becoming a bold author, we talk about the 3 V's that are involved in becoming a bold, proud promoter. The first one is vision, and then it's voice, and then visibility. And we have a bonus V, which is value. And V is about your vision. What is your vision, not just for the book, but for your authorpreneur's journey? For what happens after the book, after the publishing, after Amazon's cliff that you fall off of? What happens? What is the vision that you want to see happen? And where there is no vision, the author perishes. And so we know that if you don't have that vision, you may linger in the valley of despair for a very long time. Jim Murphy, although he spent 5 years, he wasn't necessarily in the valley of despair all that time. But he hung in there. He had tenacity and resilience and came out of that. The second V is your voice. And your voice is not only your physical voice, which I tend to have a scratchy, soft voice, which is kind of odd, but it is also your presence, how you come into a room, how you carry yourself, the energy that you put out. We are all beings made of energetic light. And so that energy comes out. That I say that with energy and body language, the body never lies. The body always transmits what's happening on the outside comes from the inside. And so your voice also includes your point of view. What do you stand for? Where are you different? What's distinctive about you? Your voice, your tone, your style, all of that is included in your voice. The way we write may be our art, but our presence, our voice is our signature. That's what people remember of us. So make it bold, make it clear, make it yours, own it, and become a bold promoter. The third V is your visibility. Now, visibility is critical because if you are invisible, you are not viable. People can't buy you if they don't know you. They don't know your book exists. And here's the real truth. You don't need to be fixed. Your book doesn't need to be fixed. You just need to be found. And when you're found, then you're back on the journey. But visibility without value is just vanity. And vanity is not what we're about here. We are about authenticity, about being relatable, real human beings. And the fourth V is the V of value. And that value means, what do you bring that's of value to your world, to your readers, to your people, if you have add-on programs like coaching and consulting and courses? And what is that value that comes from your vision that you would like to have come to you? So in other words, if you have a vision of getting somewhere, there are going to be people that are going to help you. And what is the value that you would like to have come to you so that you are able to reach your vision, to make your vision come true? Now, I'd like to ask a question, and by a show of hands, if you could tell me how many of you have a list or are in the process of building a list.
An email list?
A list. Yes. Okay, good. One of the things that we know to be true on the author's journey and in bold promoting is that you need a list of emails of your targeted market. Now, if you know who your target market is and who your audience is, I'd like for you to put it in the chat. And you may have two audiences, like I have two distinct audiences. One is a list of readers and one is a list of authors. Now, I'm about to put together a massive list of podcasters as well. And the purpose of that list is to share it with my author list and to share it here in the promo hour, along with summits and other speaking engagement opportunities. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a short time as you're thinking about this and putting in who your audience is. And I'm not going to put you in breakout rooms. I just kind of want to have a conversation about this. And as we talk about it, you can just open your mics. And as we talk about it, I'm going to make a list. If you don't want to, be part of the discussion or conversation, just put your ideas in the chat box and we'll capture them that way. But when we talk about value and what we can give to the people who are on our list, who are in our target market, what are some of the points of value that come to your mind that you can give? I literally have to take this phone call because they're delivering furniture. Yes, I'm here.
I just wanted to give you a heads up. We are 10 minutes away.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye. I have somebody else who will take the furniture. I'm so sorry. But
So
I'm in Florida and our house flooded. Okay, so points of value. What we talk about value, how do you, and we use that word, and it's often a meaningless word, right? So I'm trying to hone in on what is the value when we use our list to communicate with our people. What is the value that we can bring to them? Does anybody want to take a crack at it?
I want to.
Okay, go ahead, Olga.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Kay. I just got home finally. I'm out of car. I can talk now.
Great.
The value what I'm bringing to people is it's a history of Russian time in USSR between 60s and 90s that nobody knows. It was behind the Iron Curtain. And I'm thinking, because last time you said that I have two themes in my book. And so I'm developing that kind of historical, my memory theme that would serve people with a hunger for historical truth.
Great. So that is excellent. What Olga has presented us with is value for people who are interested in history, who want to know secret knowledge and secret truths of what happened. Do you see how her audience would love that? Like if she talked about that in pieces in her emails to them or in Facebook posts, her audience would love that. And in writing a book and framing it around what her audience would love, these peek behind the scenes of what the real truth is, her audience would love that value. That's a great way to get us started, Olga.
Thank you.
Other ideas for value. So we have some that we often do, which are how-tos, how to do this, how to write that, how to publish this, how to use SEO, how to use categories. How-tos are, the reason YouTube exists to some degree. It's the greatest search engine for how to anything. one time my husband and I were going to a charity ball, and it required a tuxedo with a bow tie, hand-tied bow tie. And he hadn't done a bow tie like that for probably decades. And so we literally went through 4 YouTube videos before we got the bow tie tied. Thank God for YouTube. Other ideas of value that you could create or share?
Oh,
Jack, why don't you go, and then Catherine?
Oh, okay. What started me, well, I wanted to write, but what started me on what I think my value was, is I had retired for the second time, and I was hanging around a pool in our complex with people my age, a little older, a little younger, that were just literally getting up every day waiting to die, my opinion, because they had really no, say, hobbies in their life, or understood the value of nutrition, or understood the value of exercise or anything like that. And I would sit around thinking that, man, what a waste of life. And so from there, I had started a routine of walking, and that kind of like just started the whole book of Empowering Your Golden Years. That's the name of the first book. And so that's what I hope that I'm going to bring to a lot of different people, how to, at a certain stage of your life, it's not over.
Right, right. Yeah, so for your audience, the value that you're bringing them is incredible, because when you have good health in your older years,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that like is literally the difference between life and death, right?
It is.
And not
But it's
only
not just,
that,
it's not just physical, it's mental.
yes, that's what I was
Yes.
going to say. It's mental,
Oh, yeah.
it's social, it's your
Yes.
family. That is like huge value for people. Catherine.
so I really connected to what Olga said, because I write historical fiction as well, set in the Smoky Mountains. And I also bring them the truth of how it really was. Like in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, you can walk into an old cabin, you can walk into an old church, an old mill, and everybody says, I wonder how life really was here. And I can bring that to them because I meticulously research, and everything is true, all events, all people. So I can basically like have them time travel. And I like that comment, a trip down memory lane. I can definitely provide that, and I'm proud of that.
Right, yeah. So there again, revealing the truth of what actually happens in the situation. We always want to know, like, what's the real truth? What's behind it? I'm going to just read a couple off, and Elizabeth will come to you. Let me read a couple from the chat. So, Lana, helping fiction authors to create award-winning stories. So a very specific kind of help for how to. Valerie, retired reading teacher. I know how to relate my book's theme to children. I love that too, relating it to children. That's a hard one, I think. And Sharon, historical romance escapism. Woo-hoo. With some added context and history about suffrage and women's rights, you have got a whole lot packed in there. That is like a whole bag of value right there. And Valerie, bring an uplifting message to children that they don't have to be perfect to succeed. Would somebody please tell them that a couple times, over and over and over again? And Elizabeth, my recent book is about sacred celebrations and rituals. I could share tips on how to create specific rituals that they could apply right away. Absolutely, right. And so we all have, you've all started to see what is the value that you could bring to your audience. And now your job in becoming a bold promoter is to say, okay, how do I start to translate that message into just a tiny piece of it into one email, one social media post. How do I take the next tiny piece and translate it? Now, what happens often for authors is we get so much in the weeds that we fail to see the big picture. I have had people write book descriptions for me that could make me weep. They're so beautiful. And I'm like, I wrote that book and I didn't see that. Other people see things that we don't even see as writers, you know? And so one of the things that's really, really good to do is to have that perspective of another person, other people who will give you their feedback, their insight. We call them alpha readers or beta readers, but they are a little bit different. They're looking for specific plot twists and developments and all that kind of stuff. This is more like people just giving you encouragement about your book because they are like, your book just blew me away because boom, boom, boom. And those are the things that you look for in your reviews on Amazon as well. And collect those, start to collect those because they make great pieces of promotion for your book. Getting reviews for your book is a whole art and science that we're going to cover. And it's very, very important to the success of your book. But we are going to run out of time here if we don't get back on track. So we're building value. One of the exercises you can do is to take your body of work and begin to look at it as though it were a diamond and you're looking at every facet. What are the facets in the book that is your diamond that you can start to make a list of all of the facets? And these facets become particles of the value that you give in emails or in social media. So, for example, Bold Authors Network, what we do here in Promo Hour has probably, from what I can tell right now, about 45 different facets. And those 45 different facets you will start to see as you come to Promo Hour. We're going to start addressing them one by one by one so that you guys become masters at them. And as masters, you will be bold promoters, and it will change how you bring your book to life and the book sales that you have and the follow-on programs. You may think now that you don't have any follow-on programs, but you do. And that's one of the facets. What's the follow-on program? When I talked to Jack at Book Funnels about historical romance, at one time I had started a historical romance book, fiction, just so I could have somebody gamify it because I wanted to develop a game. That never happened, folks, so don't go looking for historical fiction in a game. It's not, what is that? Something in Dragons. What is that one? Something in Dragons. I can't.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, yes, right. But I always thought that historical fiction would make such a beautiful, beautiful games, like the lushness, you know, of all of the terrain and the characters and the costumes and all of that. So there are many things we can do with our book, and that's one of the facets. Is I call it beyond the book. What can we do beyond the book? And sometimes beyond the book is where the bigger money is. There's the furniture guy. There's somebody else in the house too. So I hope that she heard it. Okay, so I want to share with you in the 10 minutes that we have left. So I have a program, I have an offer for you. And because you are here this week, today, I'm going to give you a very special offer. How many of you are familiar with the concept of unlimited laser coaching? Is anybody familiar with that? Oh, Elizabeth, yes, good. So I will explain it, and then Elizabeth, you can fill in whatever gaps I leave, okay? So unlimited, I gotta like let them know. Hang on just a second. I'm sorry. Thank you for your flexibility and not hanging up. So unlimited laser coaching. I've done this off and on for like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. Let's talk about the unlimited part. Unlimited is exactly what it means. Like there is no limit to how much of this coaching you can get, although there are guardrails and there are rules for the road. Laser coaching. Laser coaching is very, very specific about one issue, one problem that you have. And coaching is finding the solution to the problem of the one issue that you have. So here's how it works. Here in Promo Hour in the Bold Authors Network, we are focused on book promotions, book sales, book success. In the unlimited laser coaching for authors, I'm going to give you a link and you can book on Zoom this week an unlimited laser coaching session for authors with me. What that means is you have 25 minutes, that's the laser part, to bring a problem, an issue, a burning question, and we will work together to get you a solution or a next step for that issue in 25 minutes. At the end of 25 minutes, by the end of 25 minutes, you will have an action step. We will leave with you having an action step. When you have completed that action step, you are then free to book your next unlimited laser coaching session. That is part of the rules of the road, right? So this is laser. We don't get on and chat about the weather. It's like, okay, what's up today? How can I help you? And then we start and we have 25 minutes. So I'm going to right now put into the chat is a link, a calendar link for 25 minutes of a free session for you. Each of you. You can book it. I would recommend you book it now. The time frame for that is from 8 a.m. in the morning, ends at 6 o'clock at night, Eastern time. So adjust for your own time zone. You will get a reply back, put it in your calendar, show up ready to go with your issue, your question, your problem, your what do I do about this? And then we will spend 25 focused minutes on that issue, specific to you. And by the time we get to the end of that 25 minutes, there will be a next step. Now, it may not be a complete solution. Your issue may be grander than just one response or one session, but you will have a next step. Now, Where is Elizabeth? Elizabeth. There you are. Okay. I couldn't find you on my screen. Did I miss anything?
No, I think it's great. I think your point about being laser focused is really important. I'm a coach. Yeah, and just come in. It's like, okay, what are we going to do? And then really be open to possibilities. I think when you get that brainstorming going, you're like, well, what about this? And what about this? And we do that. And you're going to come to your answer so much faster with you. So that's a wonderful offer, Kay. And I actually just signed up for one. So thank you.
Okay. All right. Elizabeth signed up for the
I'm a
first
quick start. I just signed up next Monday.
Yeah, quick start. The
Thank
other
you,
thing
yeah.
I would offer to you too, so if you are struggling with something that is not quite nameable, in other words, you are in the valley of despair, do not hesitate to book a session, because the question or the issue there is, how do I get unblocked? How do I get past this? My phrase for this group is no author left behind. Everybody becomes a bold author. And we'll make that transformation in our own time and in different ways, but don't let this opportunity pass you by, because what I'm going to do next Monday is I'm going to sell this program. And so next Monday, you will be able to tell people in this group what you experienced in this week when you went through an unlimited laser coaching session for authors. And I really, really look forward to, getting to know you and knowing what it is that you're up against, and how bold you are. So be bold and take me up on this offer. Okay, one of the things that we always do here is rapid recall. And we're going to run out of time to go around the room. So if you would just quickly put in the chat what your takeaway is for today. As you're doing that, I'm going to give you a couple notes on logistics for the group. One is that I'm putting together a landing page that will have the show notes for our sessions. So everything that we talked about today, the slides, the video clips, Calvin turned me on to this software that takes the video and puts it into clips. It's beautiful. And I'm going to do a page called Promo Hour Show Notes, and it'll have all the links in it, it'll have the slides, it'll have everything in it so that you can access it. And actually, I have like 4 podcasts I wanted to give you guys today, so that will be in the show notes. And I'm going to go back and bring the videos in. So Lana, you might see some little clips in there that you might want to use in your promos as well, from last week when you were talking about the book fair or the book convention. All right, so that's one note. Oh, coming up, we have a gentleman by the name of Chris True, and he does improv comedy. And we are going to bring Chris True in for a session on improv comedy as a way of learning, how do you just let it go, let it be free, let your thoughts roam, go, I've been through a couple sessions with him. He is a blast. He is a gentle giant. And I love what he's doing with improv comedy. Does anybody here know Maria Secoy? Maria is one of the most, she just knows everything there is to know about publishing, particularly KDP and Amazon. And so she's going to do a couple sessions for us about SEO, how to select categories, what kind of an impact that makes, how you can go back in and change your categories. So Jack, you know what? There's nothing wrong with your book, but maybe you're just not getting found because your categories aren't right.
Yeah.
That could be the case. Maybe you're in the wrong categories. Maybe you're not using the search terms. There are a lot of things like technical things like that. Maria knows everything about that, and she's going to come visit us as well. We have some other people lined up who are going to talk about list building, about emails. We just have a whole lot of, remember those 45 facets? Right. So we're going to cover those 45 facets. And we're going to do a book giveaway together. We're going to give our books away in one themed giveaway. And we're going to do a summit where you are going to be speaking. You will have your choice of speaking or being interviewed. It's up to you. If you want to be interviewed, I'll interview you. And then we're going to broadcast that out to all of our lists. So this is where collaboration and colleagues and being together as a group with a common goal begins to leverage all of our experience and our assets. And I'm very excited to be able to do that with you, with all of you. Also, Jack from Book Funnels is going to come and talk to us too. Just remember that. If you haven't signed up yet for Author Nation, go to authornation.com, check it out. I'm going. I would love to meet you all there. It's in November. And I'm going to really, really quickly go through. Okay. So a very generous offer. Thank you. Thank you. You already have it booked. Awesome, Catherine. Awesome, Elizabeth. One of the takeaways, deliver how-to emails for my ezine subscribers. Value, finding value, takeaway. My main takeaway is that authors, we need to build a community to help us through this very personal solo journey. It is a solo journey. And then how to deliver my value to my email subscribers is the takeaway. So any final questions or comments? Anything burning that can't wait until you get a laser coaching session? Okay. In that case, I will see you all sometime this week. And then I will see you next week in promo hour. Thank you all so much. And sorry about the furniture guy. Bye-bye.